What's going on, everybody? It's been quite a while since I've done any kind of video content, and I thought I owed a little bit of an explanation, plus get into a little bit of what I want to do next. I know it's been several months since I uploaded any kind of video content, and I spent a lot of time since then kind of trying to figure out a good way to make the videos a little bit better, to give the content a little bit better, and to improve the overall quality of the video. And so I do want to mention that a little bit in this video, but for the most part, this is going to start with where I've been. So back in January, I came down with a kidney stone. I didn't know it at the time for sure, but I felt pretty confident in it. I've had a kidney stone before, and if you've never had one, you don't want it. It's a miserable experience that just you can't even describe it. It's not even so much that it hurts, you're just uncomfortable, and it does hurt a little bit, and you're nauseous, and you can't get comfortable, and your body just hates everything. And so I had that, and I actually had it for about 2 months, and I actually went to the ER finally in the middle of March to make sure that's what it was and it wasn't something else like, like a UTI or something along those lines. Well, at that point, it was confirmed it was a kidney stone. So at this point, I've lost 2 months of time. For everything. I was working, and that was about it. I went to work, I came home, and I slept. By the end of March, I finally passed the stone and started to feel a little bit better, but the problem with all that was that when you've had something ravaging you for a couple of months, it doesn't just get better right away. In fact, it's taken several months for me to really start to feel more like myself. In fact, the first couple of months after passing the stone were really actually not a whole lot of fun because think about it. I hadn't done anything for 2 months. That means all the progress that I had been working on at the gym was gone. All the stamina that I had was gone. And so basically, even just basic little operations in life were really hard for me to do. So it was a real frustrating point in my life. I just didn't have a whole lot of desire to do anything. I didn't have a whole lot of energy, and I really just didn't do much at all. I didn't just sit on my laurels, though. I did look into ways that I could improve the channel. I have done some stuff, and I'll get to that in a minute. I haven't just sat here. I've thought about things that I could do. I came up with a couple of video ideas. I thought about ways that I could do certain things that I had talked about doing, but do them a little bit better, and ways to improve the content of my channel. I do want to mention really quickly, though, since this is something I like to do, tech stuff, I have the stuff that has been announced by AMD has not gone unnoticed by me. If you follow me on social media, you may have seen me tweet about it. I actually watched their Computex keynote since it was on Memorial Day and I was off of work. So I did get to see a little bit of that, and it was pretty interesting what they were revealing, some of the stuff that they were talking about. I found it to be really, really actually exciting. However, as with anything, take it with a grain of salt. Wait for the independent reviewers to get their hands on stuff and see what they come up with, because the numbers that AMD came up with, they look promising, but you never really know. And I think every other independent reviewer has pretty much said the same thing. Wait for the benchmarks from people who aren't AMD to draw a conclusion. However, if they do give the increases that we are expecting to see, I think this puts a little more pressure on Intel, who they have not really responded. They haven't really done anything other than make some snarky comments to AMD in regards to real-world gaming scenarios and such. So Intel's a little on the defensive right now, and that makes things a little interesting as far as I'm concerned. I don't find the stuff with Navi all that interesting. I feel like they're still a step or two behind NVIDIA. Hopefully they're closing the gap, and it's nice to see them get away from HBM on the memory and get back to GDDR. In this case, I think it's 6. Pricing isn't what I think people wanted it to be for the 5700 and the 5700 XT. I don't really think it's that significant. I think at this point you might as well just be used to the fact that prices are higher on graphics cards at this point in time. However, it is worth noting that memory prices and storage prices have come down, so there is something there. So I have been noticing what's been going on, but I do have some ideas for videos. I do have some things I want to do. There's about 3 or 4 potential videos that should be coming down the pipeline here in the near future. The first one I need to do is the EK Fluid Gaming Kit follow-up. I did the unboxing, I did the installation. Where are the results? If you haven't seen those videos, I changed the 5820K build, my X99 system, from the NZXT X62 Crack into the EK Fluid Gaming Kit, with the idea that it would perform about the same as the X62 Kraken at a fraction of the noise, and that has been exactly the case. But I really want to get some actual solid numbers in terms of performance, because obviously with the cooling being about the same, some might say, well, what's the point? Well, the point was noise. And I'll get into that hopefully when I get to that video. I do want to do it here in the near future. In terms of actual video content, though, there is something I have been given the opportunity to look at. So we are going to be taking a look at this. Is the Antec Prism RGB Starter Kit. Very interesting little piece of hardware. If you've seen my stuff on Phanteks, then you kind of know where that will end up going. It's an interesting ecosystem. I'm going to be kind of diving into what I like and what I don't like about it. Additionally, we have here in my hands 4 different types of storage. I think this is also something that is interesting. In talking with everyday people, and I'm not talking about tech enthusiasts, people who build systems on the regular. I think you guys have a pretty good handle on this. But in talking with people I work with and am around on a regular basis, they don't know the differences between all these different types of storage. M.2 NVMe, M.2 SATA, SATA SSD, and good old plain hard drives. So I thought it would actually be a pretty interesting video idea to go ahead and dive into the differences in those different types of storage to kind of give the everyday consumer who maybe isn't particularly familiar with computers, what should they be looking for? What kind of storage solutions are good for them? Another video that I may do here in the near future is kind of a follow-up to all the Phanteks digital and regular RGB product videos I've done in the past. I still get a number of questions and comments on those videos from people who either appreciate the video or still don't quite understand the differences between the regular RGB, the digital RGB, where it can be used, when it can be used, what to do if you buy the wrong thing, and some general demonstrational stuff. Now, there are some things I didn't test in those digital RGB videos, like connecting the RGB products to the hub and then connecting it directly to the motherboard. So I don't know the functionality within ASUS or Sync in that regard. I did play around with the remote a little bit more. And really the biggest difference, like if you have the Evolv X case like I have with the digital controller built in, is speed. You can't control the speed of the effects. Otherwise, the modes are exactly the same with the controller and the remote as they are with the case. So if you already have an Evolv X case, you're not really missing much other than some speed control. And really the default speed on the case is pretty fine. In fact, this light strip right here is operating on the case control. Another thing that might be happening in the near future is me returning to some gaming content. For those of you who don't know, this channel originally started as a gaming channel and has transitioned to a tech channel over the course of time. Now, I do have another gaming channel that exists. I haven't uploaded anything to it in months because the game that I was uploading, Fortnite Save the World, I've kind of grown tired of. Additionally, I never finished a Let's Play for Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition. So, I mean, there's some stuff I could do there. My daughter has gotten me kind of getting back into Minecraft a little bit, but there are some games that I find interesting, and I found E3 interesting this year. There were some things that were announced, and maybe I could do some videos over there for, you know, talking about things that I saw at E3 and upcoming game news and games that I like, and there's a lot of things that I could do. Of course, all this is based around time. Time has not been an ally of mine. I still work 40 hours a week. I have a 6-year-old daughter who is in T-ball that takes up some of my time. Starting next month, I'll be playing softball for my work again for the 3rd straight year. We'll see how time shakes out. There are some things I'd like to do with the gaming side of the content, but we shall see if that actually comes to fruition. I mentioned earlier some equipment that I've purchased. One of them is right here. Inside of this case is a slider rail, which hopefully will give some better B-roll shots. Most of my B-roll has been done with a tripod and just kind of using the tilt function to kind of turn it and tilt it up and down. The slider will give me some better looking side-to-side B-roll. I actually bought a second tripod so that I can mount them together. So there is some setup involved, and I can't leave it up 100% of the time like a lot of the larger channels might be able to. But I still think it'll help improve some of the content, particularly when I'm trying to show a product off and give you a better angle of it. Another thing that I've done, you can't see it, it's out of frame, it's up here. There is a new light. So now I have 3 different kind of lights. I have 2 big soft boxes and a little, in the style of maybe the Elgato key light. I didn't want to pay $200 for the key light. So I actually kind of have rigged it together with a light I got off of Amazon for about 90 bucks, a extendable stand, and a C-clamp, and some rigging. It's kind of rigged together. I don't think it's the most stable thing in the world, but it's holding, and it actually allows me to kind of put a light wherever I feel the need, and it gives me some offsetting light. It's dimmable. There's a remote I can use to control brightness and the color. And so that should help a little bit, because one of the things I found was the 2 lights were nice, but I was often in need of a 3rd light to kind of give something else. I also have an RGB light controlled by my Echo. I did buy into Amazon Echo, and that allows me to give some different kind of lighting effects, and you might see me use that for some ambient type of lights. So what does this all mean? First off, thank you to anybody who has subscribed and has stayed subscribed. It's not easy to stay subscribed to a channel that doesn't do a lot of content. I've heard some of the complaints, I've heard some of the feedback. I talk too much. So one of the things I'm going to do, and it's up on my second monitor right now, is use kind of a loose script. Not a full script, but a loose script, something I can glance at in between sections to kind of keep myself on track. Because what ends up happening is I forget what I've talked about and I repeat myself. This should hopefully alleviate me forgetting it. What I'll have to remember to do is not look at it when I'm filming, like I've done a couple of times here. So that's going to be one thing that I hope will improve in reducing length of video, so I'm not saying the same thing 6 times over, and try to reduce some of the extra stuff that maybe isn't important. Particularly the X62 video, when I was talking about my NZXT X62 Kraken failing and being brought back to life. A lot of complaints on that video of me just not getting to the point, which was kind of the point of the video. I was trying to do something a little different there, but obviously it didn't work for a lot of people, and there were some pretty snarky comments left on that video, and I get it. You don't want to hear someone ramble on. So one of the things I want to do is reduce the talking and maybe add some B-roll and extra footage so that you're not just sitting here staring at my face the entire time that I'm talking. Lastly, I don't know how much video content I'm going to be doing over the course of a year. I am a self-funded operation. I don't generally get products for review. Anything that I decide to look at, I have to buy with my own money. There are some potential for things later in the year as AMD Ryzen, the 3000 series comes out. The new X570 motherboards, a new case from Phanteks, the Evolv X 2. There's some interesting stuff coming out, and I may be converting my 5820K build. So there might be videos on that. There might not be. Depends on if it happens or not. The point being, I'm not going to be one of those channels that has a video every single week. So if you are looking for someone who is regularly uploading content and talking about things, this may not be the channel for you, but I do appreciate every single person who has subscribed, people who have left comments with feedback. I hear you. I'm going to try and do better. So far I'm failing. We're almost 20 minutes in. I think that's going to cover it though for this video. Just wanted to give you an update as to where I've been, what I want to work on, and what you might see here in the next few months. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you in the next video.